You know how the brightest bulbs here on YouTube look at a thumbnail and title, immediately attempt to extrapolate the content following it, and then complain about it without actually having watched the video? Well, it is no secret that the idea of subverting expectations is a foreign concept to them, let alone the nature of what makes essentially a narrative hook to keep viewers watching. Man, this intro is gonna make zero sense if I end up changing the title down the line. What I mean to say by that is, you got me this time, YouTube comment section. Well, yes, I do not believe that Blizzard as a company shows inherent disrespect for its players. There are things they do that make a lot of players feel like that is the case. To quote Jeff Kaplan here, the perception of balance is often more powerful than balance itself. And the same can be said for a lot of things when it comes to community perception. Just the other day, depending on when you watch this video, Jeff and the Overwatch team have announced the introduction of a new feature. Some developers who presumably can be of help with any of the upcoming content were told to do whatever they like for a while and then report with the results. And the result of that was the Workshop, a power user feature that allows us, the players, to create fundamentally new rule sets for Overwatch. And in extreme cases, we can even prototype our own heroes. Considering that this tool requires some level of scripting experience, a bunch of you guys might be wondering, why is that relevant? What makes this release such a big deal? To understand the significance of this update, let's take a look at some of their previous additions to Overwatch and how the community responded to them. First off, endorsements. Endorsements to the average player are an inherently worthless feature that don't add any immediate improvement to their gaming experience. The rewards are not enticing enough to strictly follow the system, making a lot of them not bother with it in the first place. Not to mention that mystery hero mains, such as myself, feel fairly discriminated that I cannot endorse my Mercy as a good teammate for being the one player that does not feed to spawn as a new hero when getting her. What's the deal with that anyway? I really want my mystery endorsements, Blizzard. Anyway, the nature of endorsements necessitates the rewards being fairly underwhelming. If you were to get anything worthwhile, that would undervalue the meaning of endorsements even more than they already are. Quite frankly, the separation between shot caller, good teammate, and sportsmanship really doesn't matter anymore, as players are literally asking for a specific endorsement that they want more for its rarity or color than anything else. With that said, the endorsement level has shown to be valued by a subset of players. Reports are suggesting that higher endorsement level players do contribute to an overall better social experience, adding value to the system for those who are looking for that type of improvement. That is obviously more anecdotal than anything else, however, Blizzard's reports are not. Ever since endorsements were introduced to Overwatch, they've reported a 40% reduction in matches that had disruptive behavior. The system, as meaningless as it seems to many core gamers, encouraged the desired effect. It was low effort enough to get players to say, screw it, might as well endorse somebody, but it was not high reward enough to get them to try and abuse it, as the rewards are also only being handed out in random intervals. That, however, did not stop the vocal part of our community from bashing the system, accusing Blizzard of trying to babysit us rather than acknowledging that we are adults who can make their own decisions and walk away from unpleasant situations in a video game if we desire to do so. Quite frankly, given how many game systems are straight up feeding into or even encouraging toxicity and otherwise aggressive behavior, endorsements were a great first step in trying to combat some of these issues that the base game has created, even when the forum population seems to disagree. What I'm trying to say here is that endorsements, as meaningless as they seem to many of you, have shown to create a positive impact on the game. Blizzard has accepted that many players consider it disrespectful to be babysitted like that because they don't like the idea of giving out rewards to people for being nice. As much as that was a necessary sacrifice to improve the overall match quality in Overwatch, the Workshop fully embraces the fact that the core Overwatch community are adults who are fully capable of expressing what they do and don't like. For the first time ever, Blizzard is giving control away to the players. They do not feel the need to hold us by the hand and accept that the Workshop is a tool that can only be fully taken advantage of by players who are willing to do the necessary learning to use it. It is not a one-click solution like endorsements, and it's far more robust than our current custom game tool that only operates with very simple sliders. And even if you and I don't take advantage of this feature because, quite frankly, I don't feel like learning how to use it, it is still a big deal to our community. To quote your Overwatch here, as a young teen I loved StarCraft, but the game was so hard I just get destroyed playing online. However, they had hundreds of awesome ways to play. Tower defense, RPGs, MOBAs, whatever you like. Imagine your best Overwatch experiences still ahead of you. Good and bad ideas are often spreading like wildfire. I mean, if you go to the Overwatch forums right now, you'll probably come across just as many ideas that you disagree with as you come across ideas that you find awesome. The real gem here are advanced custom games. Whether or not you agree with the concept of an ELO hell existing, there's no denying that this idea has spread throughout the forum. And the same can be said for many more things like the discussions surrounding Mercy or how much Brigade should or shouldn't be deleted. If there are really good custom game modes out there, chances are high that they will be popular on the forums. And the fact that you can share your creations with one simple line of code makes it even more accessible for lazy people like myself who don't care to learn about scripting at all. It is accessible to those who it needs to be accessible for, and it's robust and complicated enough for players who really want to dive deep. As such, Blizzard is acknowledging and respecting the subset of players that previously felt babysitted because of their previous implementations to the game. How the custom game creator is not anywhere near powerful enough to create advanced rule sets, and how endorsements were introduced for a part of the player base that you don't necessarily feel that you are a part of. There is currently no environment that respects the core competitive community, as our current competitive game mode is quite frankly a joke. And there was no environment that respects players who are willing to put in the work that Blizzard seemingly doesn't want to put into the game. But up until now, they never had the tools to do that work in the first place. And this is now the first step towards giving Overwatch to the players. Just like how Jeff Kaplan has described that we have made the heroes our own, we can now do the same with the game itself. And make no mistake, even if you never interact with this new feature in any way, shape or form, this can still have an impact on the game that you play today. Because above everything else, this can give the developers one thing that they love having: data. Do you really think that if players go out of their way to play a certain custom game mode more than the base game modes, that the developers won't see it? If data shows that certain game modes are more popular than others, then this gives them a reason to implement them in the arcade. Maybe they do some extra work to polish it up, or maybe it inspires them to create something completely new, and the groundwork for it would already be laid out by the community. We can finally show the developers what we do and don't want to play by simply making it ourselves. No need to go to the forums and cry about why this hasn't been done and why this is not different, because we can just make it. And if this feature becomes a success, then trust me, it is only going to be the first step. What if they added a map editor after that? What if they allowed us to upload custom art, voice lines, animations? Players could literally create this story mode that they have been waiting for so long. And to put the magnitude of this into perspective, ever heard of Dota and League of Legends? Yeah, those only exist because of similar tools given to players in Warcraft. Not World of Warcraft, I'm talking about the decade-old RTS. If properly supported and executed, this could be the first step towards something really big. Now, I know I've been already talking your ears off in this video, but let me address one more thing. I don't upload that many videos per month anymore, so let me try to make this worthwhile. A lot of the problems that we have in our community when it comes to hostility and toxicity come down to the fact that we are playing a PvP-only game, and that should be obvious. As much as I've already dove deep into the exact game systems that feed into aggressive behavior, Overwatch as a whole just is not doing a heck of a lot to encourage team play. Now, if you have ever played an MMORPG, the term open world PvP should be very familiar to you. Designers can create a stronger emotional connection to your character, race, and faction by allowing you to fight other players in the open world who are part of an opposing faction. It's a way different scenario than a curated battleground that is seen as more of a sport than anything else. And I mean, have you ever seen tennis players? They can get extremely upset on the field as well. And every single match of Overwatch is essentially a battleground itself. Anyway, this is supposed to be a segue over to Destiny. Destiny, very notably, does not feature any form of open world PvP. And that has done a number of things to its community that I believe allows us to extrapolate some information to then adapt it over to our own situation in Overwatch. To understand what I'm talking about, here's a clip from SkillUp talking to one of the Destiny developers about that very subject. You can find the link in the card in the top right corner.
If somebody was going to do this, they would be a much smarter person than I. Okay. The social designers, like I said, the social designers that created the world that the Guardians share made some extremely smart decisions. I used to worry about patrolling the Cosmodrome and, have some troll of a sniper up on his favorite bluff just ventilating helmets as they touched down in the landing zone. When you're out in the wild and you're patrolling and there's Fallen or there's Hive or Vex or Cabal, on the loose in the wastelands, every time you see another Guardian, you think, there's a person who can help me. And that has been a crucial component of the Destiny culture. So
As an Overwatch player, you will immediately be able to recognize the strong differences between the social design in Destiny and Overwatch. As much as we are all meant to be heroes, we are ultimately pitted against each other. Players often refer to competitive matches as less of a 6v6 and more of a 1v11 because at the end of the day, we are competing for our own rank, our own personal enjoyment, and our own improvement. While there is benefit to cooperation, team play in Overwatch often asks for sacrifice from individual players when it comes to either their playstyle or their heroes of choice. There is a hard limit to how much coordination a team of random players can display, and due to the chaotic nature of competitive play versus the pro scene, individually outplaying your opponents often yields better results than accepting those compromises for the sake of team play. The current matchmaking structure does not facilitate a competitive environment that urges us to be team players while also benefiting us to do so. Ideally, we want to help our team by doing what we can do best, but more often than not, we are not able to do that while also trying to create a halfway decent composition. Flexing is an inherent disadvantage to individual impact on the result of the match, making players often feel helpless when the matchmaker ended up pairing 5 support players in the team. Custom games already create a different environment where it's less about winning and losing, and it's definitely not about matchmaking, but instead, everyone is just par for the course when it comes to whatever experience the lobby tries to offer. Some of my most cooperative experiences in Overwatch, if we disregard the odd competitive match, have been in custom games. We're still playing against each other, but the experience is completely different because we are eliminating the urge to want to win. The true victory here is simply having a fun time. Like for example, if I get tired of all the ability spam and I just want to click some heads as Widowmaker. Yes, there is a competitive element to wanting to be first, but as long as I can just click heads, I'm having a good time. The same goes for infection lobbies, where I don't really care if my hero ends up winning the round because I'm just up for the experience of switching my character to whoever ended up taking me out, and then see what kind of crazy things happen in the process. Similar things can be said for hide and seek and Ana paintball and whatever else have you. More often than not, players are making a great effort to try and adhere to the rule set that the lobby demands. They apologize if they mess up, and everyone is up for that type of game. If we can create more intricate custom games that have us work together rather than playing against each other, then this could have a hugely positive impact on our community. Because, quite frankly, we are very much lacking that kind of experience. Competitive play is already referred to as a 1v11, and people still get salty in quick play and mystery heroes. And that's because we are ultimately always working against each other. And that at all times. This is a great first step towards giving Overwatch truly and fully to the players. It's a step towards respecting our intelligence and respecting our commitment to the game. I mean, if my small community is anything to go by, I have already seen a bunch of people who are currently aspiring game devs, so I definitely see this tool getting a lot of use. Now here's hoping that we get a map editor in less time it took them between releasing the original custom game modes and the workshop. Thank you everybody so much for watching today's video on the latest addition to Overwatch, the Workshop. Honestly, this was the first time in a long time I was actually excited when watching a developer update, and I dearly hope that they keep up this momentum. Anyway, this is not all about me, so what are your thoughts? Are you looking forward to trying out the new feature? Have you already given it a shot on the PTR? I'd be curious to see what you guys think, so feel free to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. While you're down there, don't forget to drop me a like on your way out if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope to see you guys next time.